was great. All right. Good morning, YouTube. How's it going? Sorry, had some difficulties getting online earlier, but hope everyone's having a wonderful day with this phenomenal gap up. I hope some of you have some long exposure out there in the markets. But all right, let's get back to SPY and the Qs again. So SPY, here we go. So we have two scenarios that can play out. A, we could just hike up and, fade, maybe go short off of this level. I feel like a new high is definitely in place for this move. And B, we could come back down, and that would be a buy the dip sort of scenario. So either way, I mean, it is a retest gap technically. So we have to kind of sort of play both angles. If it doesn't want to retest right at open, that's fine. We'll just wait for it to go a little bit higher. And on SPY, a couple of points higher is not undoable. I mean, it's definitely doable. So let's look at the daily. For those of you guys that like to that want to look at some short exposure, puts, etc., I am looking to add my first leg over here at 380. So I will buy my first puts over here. By first, I mean my account, as you guys know, is smaller. So by first, I would probably leg into one put on SPY and one put on the Qs. And then if we continue to head on higher, then I will buy more as we go. This would be, so every pivot we take out, I would buy more. So one, I would add one. And with fully well knowing that this very well could just be the bottom. I'm not calling this the bottom. I'm not sold on that idea at all. But if I get stopped out and lose on those puts, it is not a crazy amount that it's something that I'm willing to lose. So, all right. Okay. Will says, bought puts around yesterday, of course. Well, Will, I could see this come back down yet again. I mean, we are at that trend line currently. Let me see. Hold on just 1 second. Here. So we are at this trend line, this rough trend line, if you will. And if we go higher, then just try to add more puts over here. A trap definitely is, it has to happen. We have too many people shorting currently. So we don't have very many players moving the markets down currently. And so we need to trap some bulls. When they get out, more shorts will jump in. And that's just my thoughts on it. I think that's how it's going to play out as far as today's concerned. So something like this. So notice how this was, on the daily, this had been going on for so long. And then we took out this pivot level and went higher. So when we do that, maybe if we take out this pivot level and go higher, I will add more at 389. My first leg will start at 380 because we do have this gap, and it may fill that gap and then look for that rollover. So I don't know which way it's going to go, but I feel like this is a good position to get started on. But okay, cool. Let's go look at the Qs real quick. All right, here is the Qs. Jay Linder says, I'm thinking bullish into option expiration and rug pull. Yeah, probably. Jay, we need 1 week at least of green, right? Because we've had, 5-6 weeks of red. Technically, this is considered red. I know it's a green candle, but it's considered red. So we need some buying to come in, right? So on the Qs too, I feel like if we could climb up till here, I'm all in with my puts. By all in, I mean I will add. So I'm buying one. And yeah, if we can have a green week this week, and notice how we have no feds or no other factors that are stepping in currently. So if we could have one green week, that would be awesome. Trap some bulls and then maybe roll over, or know that we don't have to roll over at all. We could just sideways chop for a while, for just consolidate for a while. So either way, if you want to add positions, this is my area, 283 right over here, and I will see where we go from there. My puts expire on November 18th. Would you sell it open or hold and look today? Will, I would hold on to it. I mean, if I were you, that's what I would do. Darian says, are you going for regular December? So Darian, yes. No. I will actually buy January puts. I like to go 3 months out at least. So possibly January, if I have good premium, I mean, if I have good option pricing available in February, I might even go as far as February. But yeah, January it is so far. Okay. All right. So the Qs hourly looks fantastic. They are not hiking up as much. I don't know if they faded down, but they're not hiking up as much as SPY. And we're right below this gap. So today, guys, it is a retest gap, and we are not going to I mean, unless it's a short right at open and we're just kind of shorting the retest gap, which is one of my favorite plays, by the way. Because it is a retest gap, we could short right at open. Everything pretty much qualifies for us down to yesterday's low, right? And so that's a play that I could do. Otherwise, we could wait till it comes down here, see if it dips even lower or just holds this level or holds this pivot level and then go long. So that's my plan. Either direction, I'm open to playing it in either way today. I mean, we got to make some bull money too. Can't go bearish all the time. So yeah. And as far as your puts are concerned, I would just hang on to it, see what we do in the next couple of weeks. I mean, you still have time. You have almost a whole month left. So yeah, give it a little bit of time, see what we do. All right. So the Qs and SPY we talked about. Tesla has a phenomenal gap today. So we are gapping right above the 10 EMA. Earlier when I was looking at it, it was close to 230, but we're gapping right over here. Tomorrow is earnings, guys, and Tesla is notorious for gapping up and fading on earnings. That is a beautiful play. I mean, if you want to go back trade it, pick any day. It'll gap up on earnings and then fade. So I feel like today we might have a lot of buyers. I mean, everybody knows their numbers. Everybody knows them pretty well as far as, deliveries are concerned. They have no other issues. So yeah, I could be climbing up. On the hourly chart, I did see this one pivot, this gap level, which I thought would make it a little bit too extended. So 234. So I put an alert over here. And if we go higher than that right at open, then I feel like this gap will fill and then we could roll over. And that would be the play that I would look to trade. Here it is on the hourly chart right here. And it, if you kind of sort of can tell it's a skewed double bottom, it's a skewed inverse head and shoulders. I don't know, you'd have to try really hard to make it an inverse head and shoulders, but I could totally see a double bottom scenario playing out in here. And yeah, I think it could run off in the bullish direction. I'm not super bearish on it, only because it's just super extended to the bear side and it needs some buying to come in. I will be adding more puts around this level on Tesla. So when this gap fills, I will buy 2 puts on Tesla, which is a lot for my small account, by the way. And I have a lot of short exposure at that point, but I'll look to add 2 over here. And Tesla has been my loyal friend forever. So I'll see what happens there. Everybody can see this ginormous triple top area. And, with my puts, I have so much more money to make on the downside and my stop can be somewhere up here. So the risk to reward works out really well, which is why I'm doing 2 puts versus just 1. But yeah. All right. So Tesla. What else is doing spectacular? Let's look at AMD real quick. AMD also with a gap up, but it's not taking out the 10 EMA on the daily, which is kind of, I don't know, this guy's just been weak. We are taking out this bear candle on almost every ticker out there, almost pretty much every ticker out there, but it's kind of, I don't know, I've lost faith in AMD. I wanted to get filled at 50 for long-term holds, but it just never came down to it. And it's not looking very bullish either comparatively, to some of the other tickers. But anyway, either way, I will look to play it in either direction, whichever way the markets want to go. It looks like the markets want to fade at open, which is a good thing. Okay, so AMD, same exact thing as everybody else on the hourly. I think if we could take this pivot out and continue on higher, guys, there's nothing until 64. So if we could take this pivot out, use it. So I'm thinking something like this. Let's say that's probably the straightest line I've ever drawn. But okay, so let's say we're gapping up over here, we open over here, we go higher a little bit, come back down and use this line as support and then go higher. That would be phenomenal for that S curve. But if we take this pivot out and show weakness and then come right back below this line, then that means we're rolling over again. So I will watch it and see which way we go, which direction the markets want to take today. But this is how I plan on playing AMD today, if there is a play on it. Let's see in the comments. I see somebody saying something. When everything looks easily bullish, we may get the opposite. Let's see what happens. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this could just be a trap. I mean, we're planning for that trap scenario as well. And I'm not normally I have a bias. When I come in, I will decide which way I want to go or which plays I want to play. If the gap is really good, then, do I want to go bullish or bearish or whatever? But today just happens to be one of those days where we have to wait and see. It is a retest gap. So it's normal that we pull back a little bit and we don't confuse it with a rollover, or it could just roll over, or it just goes higher and then comes back and retest maybe around the noon time. So either scenario, I feel like we could play it in either way. But yeah, but you're right, Lucian. We need, and honestly, guys, this is happening not because a short squeeze needed to happen or whatever. It's happening because bulls need to step in. We need new buyers to be trapped so that we could go lower. We need that momentum. You'll see right at bottoms, on any chart, pretty much any time frame, you'll see this happen on 15-minute, 5 minutes, whatever. But anyway, right at bottom, you'll see this accumulation happen. And so that's where new buyers, it's just sideways momentum, and that's where buyers will step in. And then we think, oh, we're going higher. And then we roll over on bear markets. That's very, very common. For those of you that don't relate to the bear momentum, I know bearish kind of sometimes feels a little bit awkward, but how many times have you seen a chart that does this and then goes higher? I see it all the times on Tesla. It'll make a new high at 9:45 and then just stall till 2 o'clock and then go higher. We see it all the times, right? So yeah, this is exactly the same thing as a bull flag or bullish accumulation. Darian says, everyone's so scared. Yeah, that's another thing, right? Because none of us are really talking about adding anything long-term. I mean, have you heard, any of the moderators or Jeremy himself say, oh, I will be buying some over here, or I'll add more to my position? No, it's been a while. It's been a hot minute since I've heard him say that for his long-term holds. No one's buying anything. And if we think we're smart, there's a lot more smart money out there. And so no one's buying. The markets are not moving. This is just a couple of people trapped, and then maybe we roll over. I don't know. The VIX has pulled back into the 20 EMA on the daily. Yeah, not a lot of dip buyers. That's correct. Yes. So here's the VIX, and VIX is at a beautiful trend line as well. So I could see this going higher. I do. Honestly, I just wanted the VIX to go to 40 and get it over with. But it's stalling, which is annoying. That's why we get these choppy days. It's just not doing anything. So yeah, we'll just have to see which way it wants to go. I think VIX could take off today. And if it does, that would be fantastic. We could have some bear momentum. And if it breaks down, you guys, then that's okay too. We could look for some long-term, we could look for some long plays, not long-term, but long plays. Yeah. Yeah, Lucian says yes. Lucian, trust me, if there's anybody excited about a bear play, put my name on it. It's all right. Let's look at our usual guys. Let's look at Delta Airlines. Delta had a pretty interesting day yesterday. That's odd. I can't believe this guy had a bear day yesterday. Okay, let's look at the hourly real quick. Yeah, this is one of those tickers that I find extremely hard to trade. And I know a lot of you here like it, but I just, because I like, I mean, ideally it means all the same thing pretty much, but I could buy more shares of Delta and watch my profits go up, or I could just buy less shares of Tesla and have that volatility, that movement. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy the movement a lot more than being patient. So that's why one of those things that I don't, Delta Airlines is just not one of those things that excites me. But hey, if we gap up over here, if we open above this guy right here, that could be interesting on Delta. Or if we take this guy out right here, that could also be interesting on Delta. So let me see if I can put an alert right here, 3076. And then we will come back to it. All right, there we go. So if we come down on this, this could be a cute little short because we'd be taking out this pivot and rolling down. Now, keep in mind, this is a support area. So I'm not, as soon as the alert goes off, I'm not punching in a short. I'm just waiting, watching, and seeing what happens. But if we take this guy out, we could go bullish. Either way, open to it. Roblox, you guys, this thing had a phenomenal day and no pullbacks whatsoever. I was watching it and I had to be at the hospital with the kids, doctor's office with the kids, but so I couldn't trade it. But I was like, no, I am 100% confident this thing's going to fade back down because it's only gapped up. What, like 40? What was this gap up? 15%, whatever it was, but it was amazing. This gap up was amazing and it didn't fade at all. I was truly surprised. So this is one we need to keep an eye on. It is gapping up again. Let's look at it on the daily real quick. I like this gap up a lot because we're gapping outside of this trend line, kind of, sort of. We'll see what kind of day it has today, but this could be a cute little swing trade, you guys. We got into a bear call spread on it yesterday. Yeah, this could be a cute little, if today happens to be a little bit bearish, then I feel like this gap will fill and that could be a fun swing trade. Or if today happens to be bullish, then we could wait for that pullback and then look to go bullish. But either way, we'll have to give it a little bit of time. After moves like these, after tough days like these, like for example, this guy right here, and we gap up right over here, this might have been one of those odd days, but I could very well see us gapping up today. We're doing the exact same thing. We're gapping up today. Could very well see, it coming down. It doesn't have to hold this level. And I also think that Roblox is gapping up because the overall markets are gapping up. It's not gapping up on its own. I mean, if it's not doing anything different than the broader markets. So that's hourly is pretty extended. The RSI is pretty extended. I wouldn't look to go long on it specifically. I would be more interested in a fade down today. That would be cool if it can do that. So let's give it some room to climb up a little bit and then come back down. So let's watch this guy, see what it does at open. But this is a lot of bulls profitable as well. So I feel like this could be interesting to go back down for a fade. I know we're counter trend trading on majority of the tickers, but hey, we got to give it a shot. All right. Gap up into the 200 on the daily. Where is the 200 SMA? Let's see. Ooh, yes, it is gapping up into the 200. All right, no, I wanted to add an alert, but okay, I'll watch this guy, and I know 4480 is the level I need to watch it for. But yeah, if we take out this level and go a little bit higher, I would look to fade it. I think this is where a majority of the people would want to take targets, or even over here. I don't know if it's going to take this level out. So we'll see. We'll see which way it wants to go. All right, NVIDIA. What is this guy doing? NVIDIA is just, it's been just like AMD, weak sauceville everywhere. Nothing exciting happening. These used to be really fun tickers to trade. AMD and NVIDIA were super, super exciting, but lately it's just been, all right. So this guy, I feel like will also obviously do exactly the same thing as the broader markets, but it could, I mean, if it gets going, there's a lot of shorts in here. I could totally see it go at least to 126 today. So let's watch it. Let's look to go long around 119 with this as a target. Let's see what happens. All right.
You're doing the morning now?
Here. Hold on, you guys. You guys have to mute. First talking. It was Dan. All right, never mind. Okay, cool. It was Dan. We figured it out. AMD, we looked at Apple. Is interesting. To me, this chart is exciting. If we can hold on to this bullish momentum, I feel like this is a cute little double bottom. Don't excuse the bull moves, guys. Don't just, don't get caught sleeping on the bull moves either, because Apple is one of the, I mean, when you're worried about something, or when you're fearing the markets, Apple is not the number one stock that you're shorting. You're probably letting go of your Peloton shares and your Roblox shares and things like that. But Apple is not the one. And another thing is, this is an exciting price still for a lot of people on Apple. So if this gets going, hey, that's pretty cool. We could look to trade it in the bullish direction. It is a retest gap, so we want it to come down a little bit and then roll higher. But it's filling this gap, this daily gap, which is amazing. So it's filling this gap. The important thing for us now is to hold this level. So I want to see a move higher, come back, retest, and then go higher. Or I want to, at least see it right up to here at least. So yeah, we'll have to, if I have to categorize Apple, then I want to put Apple in the bullish part on my watch list versus the bearish. So I'm not looking to short this guy right at open. I think I want to buy the dip more like, and then go long. So that's the direction I'm going in. Let's see, SPY cues we looked at. Here is our boy Amazon. Amazon's doing fun stuff too. Everything pretty much is gapping up, right? And we're not questioning. I always get these days where the markets are doing exactly the same thing as everything else. So yeah, but we'll see what it wants to do, just like everything else. If it wants to come back and hold these levels, go bullish. If it wants to ride higher at open, then I will look to fade it at this gap fill. So 119.59 area is where I will look to start fading it. Let's see if there's any on the hourly. There's other gaps here. This is a ginormous gap on Amazon too. It's you would think it would fade back down. Rock says Apple is my first DKNG. That's amazing. Well, yeah, Apple is a lot of people's favorite ticker. Mine, by the way, is not. It's just, I like to bear trade, and Apple is not something you mess with bearish. So I don't really like Apple. Every time I've ever traded Apple bearish, I've always gotten stopped out. So I have a rule to not trade Apple bearish. It could be like the biggest bear day out there, and the world could be going to zero, and I will not touch Apple. So Rock says DKNG is like my stock child. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Amazon's right here. I don't know, guys. I haven't instinctively. I want to go fade this gap down. So I want to see it go a little bit higher at 120, and then let's look for that fade. I think that's how I would want to play it. This is a ginormous gap up on Amazon. Let's look at it on the daily. Ooh, it's getting bought up. Okay, cool. It's 927. Is the broader market getting bought up? Yep, it is. Okay, awesome. What an amazing move up in overnight futures. That was fantastic move up. Okay. Yeah, the daily looks good too for bullish, bearish, either way. But just the fact that it's getting bought up so much right at open, I think we could look for that short, and everything pretty much qualifies. So we could take official trades. Meta is also here. I hope Woodshed is still long. I think you were going long yesterday, as far as I remember. I hopped in the room for a little bit and heard you, but there's Meta. And here's another ticker I wanted to look at. I was looking at Bitcoin earlier, and it was doing fun stuff. So I wanted to see what Coinbase was doing. Coinbase, gapping up, but there is, I mean, it still feels sideways to me. Okay, never mind. I thought it would do something spectacular, like gap up to 80 or whatever, but maybe not. All right, you guys, in YouTube land, it is time for us to leave you guys here. Give us a thumbs up, give us a like, and come check us out in our trading rooms. It gets a lot of fun, a lot of excitement happens here, and we take lots of fun trades together. So definitely come check us out. Matt says I'm with you on that. No bear play on Apple. Yeah, absolutely. Let me turn off